And it looked as if Dylan Gabriel unleashed heavy fire at Shedeur Sanders right after the breaking headlines. And by breaking, I don't mean mild chatter. I mean the kind of chaos that makes you drop your popcorn mid-bite. Shedeur Sanders just got roasted live on national television. But not by a rival coach. Not by a bitter fan hiding behind a burner account. No, it was by quarterback Dylan Gabriel himself, who apparently decided that primetime TV was the perfect place to audition for his stand-up comedy career. Spoiler, it flopped harder than a bargain bin Netflix special. Now the fan base is furious. Shedeur's loyal army is gathering receipts like storm clouds, and Gabriel may have just sabotaged his own reputation before even taking a real NFL snap. It's just part of the game, Gabriel tried to explain. There are entertainers and there are competitors, and I'm focused on competing. He delivered it mid-game, but the damage was done. The words carried like shrapnel. I had to replay it twice to make sure I actually heard what I heard. Dylan Gabriel really woke up one morning and thought, what would make today fun? Publicly insulting Shedeur Sanders on live TV. Not in the locker room. Not behind closed doors. Not even in some late-night Twitter rant. No, he did it in high definition with millions of people watching. That's not confidence. That's career suicide disguised in shoulder pads. Because if there's one fan base you never antagonize, it's Shedeur's. Those people treat him like Beyonce in cleats. And Gabriel? He just tried to do open mic comedy at her sold-out concert. Sure, Dylan Gabriel is talented, competitive, and skilled, but he's also human, and sometimes humans make choices so reckless you wonder if common sense is a seasonal virus. Live TV trash talk against Shedeur? That's not bold. That's putting your NFL future in a blender and pressing puree. Shedeur is college football royalty. His name alone fills arenas. He could show up late, stretch for 3 seconds, and still command more screen time than Gabriel after throwing 3 touchdowns. And Gabriel thought it was a good idea to compare himself publicly. That's like challenging Gordon Ramsay to a cook-off with instant noodles. He tried to clarify later, saying his entertainers versus competitors comment was aimed at the media, not at Shedeur. But the problem? Nobody bought it. Everyone knew the intent because the delivery was already out there. And then came the internet. Within minutes, X, formerly Twitter, was ablaze. Shedeur fans became FBI agents, meme lords, and digital soldiers all at once. Every freeze frame of Gabriel's face turned into GIFs. Every word became a punchline. He wasn't trending for highlights. He was trending because people wanted to see the exact second regret hit his soul. History is clear. Everyone who goes at Shedeur ends up on the losing end. Trash talkers either apologize on podcasts, cry behind visors, or worse, get benched while Shedeur casually racks up another 300-yard game. It's like trying to fight the internet. There's no winning, only memes and humiliation. Dylan Gabriel didn't just throw shade. He tossed his reputation into a wood chipper and waved while it shredded. Now imagine being his coach. You spend weeks drilling him on focus, humility, and professionalism. And then he gets on national TV and acts like a rejected roast battle contestant. If you're that coach, you're not just disappointed, you're livid. You're practically calculating how many gallons of bleach it'll take to scrub this fiasco out of the season. Because from here until Christmas, every press conference won't be about X's and O's. It'll be about answering, so, coach, how's Dylan holding up after the Shedeur fallout? Meanwhile, Shedeur doesn't even need to speak. That's the beauty of his position. He can simply post a smirking Instagram story, and the internet will wage war on his behalf. His silence thunders louder than anything Dylan could utter. Because when you're the star, you don't chase beef. Beef hunts you down. And in this case, Dylan Gabriel is marinating in his own poor decisions. The irony? Dylan's insult wasn't even clever. If you're going to risk your entire reputation live on national TV, at least make it sharp. Add some bite, some charisma, something that forces people to say, that was wrong, but I can't deny it was funny. Instead, he delivered the verbal equivalent of a soggy gas station sandwich. Bland, sloppy, and instantly regrettable. Even the cameraman probably rolled his eyes. If you're going to torch your career, at least make the punchline worth remembering. Here's the reality check. Gabriel was thrilled to be drafted in the 3rd round, eager for his shot. But mere hours later, the Browns drafted Shedeur Sanders, a player who didn't just join the team, but set the entire football world on fire. And now, every time Gabriel hears his own name, it's drowned out by echoes of Shedeur. Because the Shedeur effect is real, his games draw audiences like a fusion of the NFL and Netflix. When he's on the field, ratings spike, stadiums sell out, highlight reels run on loop. Gabriel, for all his effort, doesn't generate that gravitational pull. So when he lobbed that entertainers versus competitors jab, it wasn't just aimed at Shedeur, it was a shot at the orbit of celebrity itself. And the backlash, unforgiving. You don't insult the sun and expect people to rally behind a flashlight. Now Dylan's newest assignment isn't reading defenses, it's damage control. His PR team is sweating buckets, drafting statements, planning apology tours, maybe even lining up puppy-kissing charity photo ops. He'll spend more time explaining himself than studying the playbook. Meanwhile, Shedeur will keep shining, casually stacking highlights while the memes bury Dylan deeper. Social media has already carved his blunder into internet history. He's being photoshopped at the kids' table while Shedeur dines with legends. His words are being remixed into TikTok audios. He didn't just stumble, he dove headfirst into the meme machine. And now every corner of the digital world is feasting on his mistake. And let's not sugarcoat it. This wasn't a slip of the tongue. This was deliberate. A sober choice. And choices carry consequences. His, watching his QBR plummet while his meme stock explodes. Other quarterbacks are quietly sipping Gatorade, relieved that for once they're not the ones in the spotlight of shame. Because this isn't just football drama anymore. This is pop culture. Shedeur's name has transcended sports. Dylan's comments aren't confined to ESPN panels. They're splashed across meme accounts, entertainment blogs, even late-night comedy monologues. He tried to minimize Shedeur and instead magnified him. That's not an insult. That's free marketing. And what happens next? Dylan Gabriel can try to win games, but every touchdown will come with a side of, hey, aren't you the guy who got roasted by Shedeur's silence? Fans will bring signs. Opponents will whisper it at the line of scrimmage. Every snap will remind him he picked the wrong battle. And Shedeur, he'll just keep building his empire, pretending Dylan doesn't exist. That's the ultimate humiliation. Gabriel handed him free publicity, and Shedeur doesn't even need to say, thank you. It's like gifting your enemy a sword only to watch him hang it on the wall as a decoration. Dylan Gabriel's insult wasn't just poor timing. It was catastrophic judgment. He didn't merely poke the bear. He pitched a tent inside its cave and started singing lullabies. And the bear in this story? It isn't sleeping. Shedeur Sanders is not just a quarterback. He's a phenomenon. A cultural tidal wave, with a fan base bigger, louder, and more relentless than Dillon Gabriel could ever fathom. If you want to survive in college football, you don't insult Shedeur Sanders on live television. You shake his hand, compliment his cleats, and pray the cameras don't catch you blinking too hard in his direction. Dylan Gabriel wanted a viral moment. Congratulations. He got one, just not the one he dreamed of. You'd think Gabriel would have learned from history by now. Trash-talking Shedeur Sanders is essentially a career hazard. There's enough evidence to film a Netflix documentary on all the players, coaches, and analysts who've tried and failed. Every single one of them ended up backpedaling faster than a defensive back chasing Tyreek Hill. Yet Gabriel marched onto that stage, chest puffed, mic hot, brain clearly cold, and thought, yes, today I will test the wrath of Shedeur Nation. Spoiler alert. Shedeur Nation doesn't forgive. It doesn't forget. It screenshots. The internet worked overtime. Within hours, entire threads emerged with more receipts than a courtroom trial. Old stats, missed throws, awkward photos, high school interviews, nothing was off limits. One fan even dug up his Pop Warner tape and wrote, "He's been mid since 2009. That's dedication. Gabriel thought he was delivering a mic drop. Instead, he became a community service project for amateur comedians nationwide. The narrative flipped instantly. Overnight, he wasn't Dylan Gabriel, the quarterback. He was that guy, the one who tried to clown Shedeur and wound up as the star of the internet's favorite soap opera. His entire career risks becoming a footnote on Shedeur's Wikipedia page. Imagine grandkids one day asking, "Grandpa, weren't you a quarterback?" And he sighs. "Yes, but mostly I was a cautionary tale. And the timing, pure disrespect." He didn't mutter this in a locker room. He didn't let it slip in a leaked text. He didn't even sneak it into a subtweet. He went full Broadway with it. Live TV, bright lights, millions watching. That's like robbing a bank in broad daylight, waving at the security cameras, and leaving your driver's license on the counter. Meanwhile, Shedeur didn't even need to clap back. His silence was the knockout punch. While Gabriel scrambled for explanations, Shedeur sipped water on the sideline, and the internet fought his battles for him. That's the power of superstardom. When you're Shedeur, you don't swing. You smirk, and the world swings for you. Because Shedeur isn't just a player, he's an economy. ESPN builds segments around him. Nike builds campaigns around him. Fans book weekends around him. He's not just selling tickets, he's selling an experience. Gabriel, on the other hand, turned himself into a sideshow nobody asked for. Boosters don't write checks for drama. They want wins, highlights, and jerseys flying off the shelves. And now, welcome to the damage control era. Gabriel's camp is already scrambling like a shaky PR startup. Expect long-winded Instagram posts with way too many ellipses. Expect canned apologies that sound like they were drafted by AI at 3 a.m. Expect teammates awkwardly defending him with cliches like, "He's misunderstood," or "It was taken out of context," even though the context was literally him saying it out loud on live TV. His defense is weaker than off-brand duct tape in a hurricane. Meanwhile, Shedeur's stock rises yet again. Gabriel tried to roast him, but in doing so, he only added more fuel to Sanders' mythos. Shedeur didn't have to say a single word. The silence became the story. And Dylan? He's left buried beneath an avalanche of memes so creative they deserve their own Hall of Fame. People are photoshopping Dylan, holding a mic at an open mic night, while the crowd boos. Others are comparing him to disposable side characters from sports movies, whose only role is to elevate the hero's rise. Some even pasted his face onto the "this is fine" dog meme, sipping coffee as flames consume everything around him. Dylan isn't just trending, he's been immortalized as comedy fuel. And here's the part he really didn't calculate. Recruitment politics. NFL scouts don't just measure arm strength or accuracy. They study composure, leadership, and media presence. And Dylan just displayed the leadership instincts of a man live tweeting his own firing. Scouts are watching. They're not just asking, can he throw? They're asking, will he implode the locker room if he's given a microphone? Sadly, the answer isn't no. He wanted ESPN highlights, Instead, he got TMZ coverage. He wanted a Heisman campaign. Instead, he got a meme campaign. He dreamed of headlines reading, "Gabriel leads team to victory." Instead, they scream, "Gabriel insults Sanders," and gets torched. Meanwhile, Shedeur doesn't even have to respond. That's the beauty of superstardom. His silence does the heavy lifting. One smirk, one casual sideline shot, and the internet spins the rest. When you're on top, you don't chase clout. Clout chases you. Dylan just volunteered as Exhibit A in Shedeur's Museum of Rivals, who imploded. He basically donated his dignity to the cause. And the ripple effect, every coach, player, and analyst now has a crystal clear reminder of the golden rule. Never cross Shedeur Sanders unless you want your name trending for all the wrong reasons. Dylan has officially written the textbook on what not to do. Congratulations, he's become a walking cautionary tale. Fans, though, they love it. This is reality TV dressed in helmets and jerseys. They're munching popcorn while refreshing practice reports, speculating about locker room chaos. And Dylan? He'll never escape it. 5 years from now, he could announce his retirement, and the top comment will still be, "Remember when you insulted Shedeur on live TV?" If he ever runs for office, the attack ads will replay that moment on loop. This mistake is tattooed onto his career like a bad ex's name. The comedy truly writes itself. Dylan Gabriel, the quarterback who tried to clown Shedeur Sanders and ended up juggling his own reputation instead. He turned a rivalry into a full-blown circus with himself as the clown car driver. His legacy won't be defined by touchdowns, but by the day he turned a single, reckless sentence into a cultural spectacle. He thought throwing shade at Shedeur would be a flex. Instead, it became a cramp that paralyzed his career. He thought he was sparking a rivalry. Instead, he started his own roast session. And Shedeur? He didn't break a sweat. He collected another double-O, let the memes pile up, and watched Dylan burn. This wasn't a duel. It wasn't even close. Dillon Gabriel versus Shedeur Sanders was a one-man demolition derby. Dylan strapped himself into the car, floored the gas, and rammed straight into a brick wall labeled Live TV. The wall didn't break. Dylan did. This isn't just mismanagement, it's sabotage. And the fans know it. Cleveland is dismantling the best thing they've had in years. Let me say this quickly. I was wrong, and you were right. We've never witnessed anything like this. I doubted you at first. I thought, what are you talking about? Back in Oklahoma, the fan base carried Baker, carried those games in Norman. But this is bigger. This is louder. This is a circus Cleveland has never seen before. And don't bring up the Deshaun Watson debacle. That divided the fan base. This question mark, this unites them in outrage. Browns fans are furious, and they should be, because what the organization is doing to Shedeur Sanders isn't just questionable, it's a tragedy. Here's a rookie who walked onto the field, delivered a debut so electrifying it rewrote everything fans thought they knew about quarterbacks. He displayed poise, precision, and presence under pressure. And what do the Browns do? They treat him like a liability, like an inconvenience, as if his brilliance was nothing more than coffee spilled on the locker room floor. How realistic is it that he gets real consideration to start? Honestly, not at all. Look at the gauntlet ahead. Burrow, Lamar, Jordan Love, Goff, Rodgers, the Steelers. No bye week. No mercy. No way Cleveland hands the reins to a rookie. At least not if they're making decisions out of fear instead of vision. But let's be honest. Shedeur's performance wasn't just solid. It was a statement. The kid stepped into chaos, crushed expectations that would cripple most rookies, and proved he belongs. Yet the Browns act like his injury, just a bruise, a tweak. is reason enough to bury him. And make no mistake, the rest of the league doesn't want Shedeur to succeed. 31 scouting departments passed on him. They let him slide to the 5th round. They don't want to be proven wrong. So, of course, they're telling everyone to calm down because deep down, they know. They know he might actually be that good. Here's the kicker. Shedeur himself admitted he could have played better. Fans were stunned. Absolutely stunned. Because what he put on display was already breathtaking. Enough to make you believe Cleveland finally had its quarterback of the future. But instead of nurturing him, the Browns shove him aside, treating his rise like it never happened. Every athlete faces injury. Every rookie stumbles. But only the Browns could take their brightest spark and smother it with neglect. They don't realize. Cleveland needs Shedeur Sanders more than he needs them. He doesn't need a franchise that second-guesses his potential. He needs trust, consistency, and opportunity. And so far, Cleveland has given him none of those. Imagine being Shedeur. Adrenaline surging, weight of your first NFL game pressing down, and you deliver, you prove yourself. And instead of applause, you're benched. Instead of opportunity, you're discarded. Fans see it, they see the injustice, and that's how you fracture a locker room. That's how you poison a culture. Because Shedeur Sanders isn't the problem. The Browns' blindness is. And while Shedeur stays humble, focusing on growth, discipline, and mastery, Cleveland continues to sabotage its own future. He doesn't demand headlines. He doesn't chase glory. He just works. That quiet resilience, that drive, is rare. And the Browns are wasting it. This isn't speculation. It's happening right now in plain sight. He's got undeniable presence. Something every true quarterback must have. That calmness, that poise under fire, is what separates leaders from placeholders. Even while nursing a minor arm injury, Shedeur Sanders never looked rattled. Every snap he took was a masterclass in composure and decision-making. Every completion whispered the same truth. This kid belongs. And yet, while fans saw brilliance, the Browns saw bureaucracy. Instead of rallying around his breakout, they treated his setback as an excuse to retreat. What sense does it make to punish potential? How can a franchise starved for consistency, leadership, and results bury a rookie who demonstrated the very qualities they've been chasing for decades? This isn't oversight. It's a declaration. A declaration that mediocrity is acceptable. That caution matters more than courage. That a rookie who exceeds expectations is somehow expendable. For fans who have waited years for bold, intelligent leadership, that is offensive. Look at his play in detail. Down in the red zone, his eyes were disciplined, his read sharp. The touch pass on the first touchdown was flawless. The second was a thing of beauty. On that play, his head snapped left. He didn't like it. He sidestepped right, calmly reset, didn't panic, didn't bolt into trouble. Then bang. He drilled the late crosser for 6, protecting his receiver in the process. That's not rookie panic. That's veteran instinct. Even the moments that weren't perfect revealed growth. He scrambled instead of taking a sack. He stepped out rather than forcing something reckless. Those are flashes of a quarterback with intelligence, vision, and restraint. That's a guy you build around, not a guy you hide. And through it all, Shedeur's attitude is unshakable. No sulking, no tantrums, no excuses, just quiet resilience, relentless work, and a drive to master his craft. That professionalism is rare. And yet, Cleveland treats it like a burden. The contrast couldn't be clearer. His promise versus their pettiness, his composure versus their incompetence. One inspires loyalty, the other inspires rage. So what's next? If the Browns continue down this path, Shedeur will face limited reps, wasted opportunities, and an uphill battle to prove what he's already proven, that he's a quarterback of the future. If he rises, it won't be because of Cleveland. It will be in spite of them. This isn't just mismanagement, it's sabotage. And everyone can see it. The Browns are taking the one glimmer of hope they've had in years and grinding it into the dirt. On the practice field, you expect growth, new installs, new coverages, the daily grind. That's where players prove themselves. Then comes the game, the ultimate validation. And what did Shedeur Sanders do? He validated everything. He played poised, polished football. Yet instead of rewarding that, Cleveland punished him for the smallest of setbacks, a minor injury. Not a career-ending blow, not a season-ending fracture, just a tweak. And suddenly, his hard work, his talent, his moment in the spotlight is treated as irrelevant. That's not just brutal, it's betrayal. Fans are stunned, furious, and disillusioned. Shedeur showed precision, leadership, and maturity, rare for a rookie. And what's Cleveland's response? Pretend it never happened. Worse, the message to every young player is clear. Shine, and we'll remind you you're expendable. Rise, and we'll make sure you fall. That isn't just negligence. It's a system built for failure. The irony is sickening. The Browns finally stumble upon a quarterback who looks like he belongs, who shows he can handle pressure, inspire fans, and command the field. And instead of riding that momentum, they're throwing obstacles in his way.